What is up, future millionaires? Welcome back. I love it. Let's go. This is the video I've been waiting to do, and it's a continuation of the series, the motivation to show you literally in a chart with the numbers and everything else based on actual information that has happened, and we hope to be able to take advantage of it and become that millionaire, that crypto millionaire, the equity millionaire, whatever kind you want to become. Hit financial freedom, get generational wealth. And they're putting a picture of you on the mantelpiece above the fireplace. You ever watch them movies, them old movies where they got the old man who was rich? It made the family absolute just generational wealth. And you know, you're like 2, 3, 4, 10, 75 generations forward, and the picture's still there. And it's usually a haunted kind of movie, but man, let's get there. Let's get to the point that your great-great-grandkids are saying, there's Uncle Crypto right there, Uncle whatever it is. But I'm going to show you something in this video that's going to blow your mind. I'm going to show you how to become a millionaire step by step. And this is not a joke. This is not clickbait. It's one of the things I used to teach adults who are just getting into investing, my students, people who would come to me. You need to see this. This is not a joke. I am here to help you the best I can. The direction of the channel is now about education, about learning and earning. I am being absolutely transparent with the portfolio. If you appreciate that, you like seeing it, put a fire emoji down below in the chat, or just write fire if you're like me. You're like, I don't know how to do it. I don't either. Don't worry about it. But with that being said, there's a ton to go over. Two things real quick, record keeping. Let's make sure we got everything. If you're not in the Discord, first link down below, 50% off, ends shortly. So if you want to get in, earner tier, follow along, the plays, the expert traders, my portfolio, me, the private live stream trading I do, plus 36 class lessons and growing, you do the earner tier. You just want the class lessons, this one, 15% off a membership for an annual one. You click that button. But code July will save you 15% or 50% off your first month at checkout. So make sure you take advantage. And everybody asks me where I'm buying my crypto. Dude, Kraken. It's the only place I love to go there. I shouldn't say the only place because I like Kraken. There's a few other places I use, but Kraken is my go-to. I love Kraken. First link or second link down below. I reached out to them. They didn't have anything. I said, can we do something for my viewers? They gave me this 25 free USDG. You can turn it into XRP, turn it in whatever you want. But you got to trade 100. But you got to use my link and sign up using my link. So once you do that, you're in. I know we had a lot of people signing up, and I appreciate that. Now, let's talk. This is it. This is what I'm seeing, right? So I'm going to show you something in this video, which is beautiful. It's absolute fact, what I'm going to show you in terms of the historical numbers that I pull up. This, in other words, this has happened. And I'm going to show you, because one of the big things I get in showing this is some people say, oh, you can't get this, that, or whatever return. And I'm here to say, yeah, that's how it's been. And for some of them, it's been 30, 40, 50 years of this return that it's just been stable. And I kept hearing it I'm not even kidding, for 30 years I've been hearing, there's no way you're going to get double-digit returns in the market and this, that, and the other thing. And as I got older, I realized that's just fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD, that they're trying to put on to retail investors. And so I'm here to take that curtain, pull it aside, let you see what is going on, let you see the truth. I'm tired of all this nonsense I'm seeing on YouTube. And I want to be the one that comes out here and shares my portfolio, shares the steps that you can do, and you pick it based on the risk. And I'm going to explain that in this video. But you're seeing titles like this, right? And this isn't a video saying, oh, go and put all your money in crypto. No. I want to show you different paths to becoming a millionaire. And I saw a funny thing today. I was doom scrolling, as my kids call it, through one of the apps. I don't even know. All right, I'm not going to give them any clout. I don't even remember which one it was. Somebody sent me a link, and after you click on it, one of my buddies, and then all of a sudden you keep going. Well, that's what happened. And so it was talking about how many people become millionaires, how many people become billionaires. And it said working for someone else. Billionaires, 0. No one becomes a billionaire working for someone else. If they're starting up their own business, entrepreneurs, if you will, it works out. And so, and 0%. So maybe, when I look at something like that, it opens up. It makes sense to me because I realize that for people out there that are teachers, your firemen, your nurses, your doctors, your lawyers, your whatever, you're out there just scraping. I worked at all kinds of different places. My dad had a pizza shop. I was delivering pizzas for a long time, helped myself get through college. I did construction. I've done a lot. I even painted houses at one time as a college student, man. I've done a lot of things, and I've worked my tail off every time I have. And you can become a millionaire doing that. And that is one of the big things I want people. You might not become a billionaire, but yeah, you never know, as this money devalues over years. But I will say this, a millionaire status can be very, very quick. And I always say, look, this isn't a get rich quick thing, but it is a get rich slow with Mo method. And we're going to see this. So as you continue to see titles like this, and this happened this week, and you guys know I'm happy. I'm happy. Let me know how good of a week you had. A lot of you said I've been following along with you, Mo, for years, and it's finally hitting that serious payday where others are all upset, and I'm sitting there looking at my portfolio, and it's going to new highs. And that's what I've been telling you. And now I'm sharing that overall portfolio throughout the week and helping people that way as well. For those who are saying, what portfolio? Just look at my last video. It's in there, all right? Now, I'm not going to go through this video, but you can just look at the last video. Subscribe to the channel because I'm going to continue to share it. It started at 2 million. We made over $100,000 in a week, this week alone. And I hope to continue that pace. I would be great, wouldn't it? $100,000 a week would be $5 million a year. But my goal is 5 to 10 years to turn that 2 million into $10 million. I would like to do it in the quickest 5 years, in the longest 10 years. But I'm going to show you part of that strategy. So now it starts a little bit, and we talked about this, and there's a lot of things going on. I want to. It's a part 2 on what we have discussed. Remember, I did a video and I said millionaires are going to be made, and they are. They're going to be made. And I talked about Bitcoin, the average return over the last 5 years for Bitcoin. The average return for Ethereum over the last 5 years. And I can tell you this, the average return for XRP is roughly 60% as well over the last 5 years. So all three of them were 60%. And I showed how if you were putting money into this, how much money you would have at the end of 5 years, how long it would take if it continued this pace over the next few years to become a millionaire. And a lot of people said, well, I don't do crypto, Mo. Can you do another one showing different timelines and not just the crypto, but do crypto and equities? And so I thought that's a great idea. So I'm going to combine this video into both, and it'll show you here. It's wild. And so the S&P 500 was one that a lot of people are invested in. I do not invest in the S&P 500 anymore. And I'm going to show you why right now. Since 1957, your average return on the S&P 500 is 10%. It's 10%. That's it. That's what you get, 10%. That is your annual return. Anytime somebody tells people, hey, you're long-term, you're going to go 20, 30, 40 years, and they're like, go in the S&P 500. And I always think to myself, they don't know what they're talking about. They do not know. What kind of advice is that? That's horrible advice. Horrible advice. And that's when I know somebody really doesn't know what they're talking about. Because if you're going to be 20, 30, 40 years out, you know the biggest growing, and if you know anything about anything, it's not the S&P 500. It's not. And you might be saying, holy crap, Mo. And I'm going to guess 90-something% of you have been told go in the S&P 500 index fund and be done. And it's horrible advice. It's, in my opinion, it's absolutely horrible advice. Here, let's take a look at the Nasdaq 100. This is QQQ. Look at this return. 14% over the last almost 40 years, not including dividends. If you add dividends in, this goes up to 15 to 16%. So add the dividends in, we'll add 1% and make it up to 15. It could be more, but I'll just leave it at that, 15%. So I want to show you something before we get into everything, because this is why the S&P is horrible advice. So just say you had 50 grand, which I believe is roughly the average salary in the United States for a full-time position. And when it says 10% a month, it's this annually. So 5 grand divided by 12. So that they're saying you're just taking the 10% of your overall salary, dividing it by 12 and putting it in every month. So you're doing $5,000 a year into this. I just said, we're going to say you're 30 years old, you're going to go to 65. And what was that return? And this is a good thing. We're going to say 10% on the S&P 500. And currently, you have $0 in there. I'm not even going to give you a match because I know most of you do have a match, but I'm not going to put that in there. Now, I'm going to show you something. This is why I think it's an absolute train wreck for people to tell people to put it in the S&P 500 when you have this much data to go by. And it's the inexperience of some of these people. Now, this is not financial advice. This is education. I am here to teach you now, and I know a lot of you said you wanted to see this. I'm going to do this with all the cryptos and the equities in this video, and it's going to blow your mind. Ready? Boom. You did this for 35 years. Not a bad idea. The one thing I want to change, and I'll show you this. All right, so for 35 years, you put 10% of 50K in. But we know in 35 years, you're not going to be still making 50K. So look what the price is. You put 175,000 in over 35 years. That's $5,000 a year. There's that 175,000. It's now worth 1.355 million. That's if you put $5,000 a year in every single year for 35 years. That's what you'll have based on the S&P 500. But I always tell people two things. One, you're going to get about a 3% raise every year. So how much is your raise, your salary? 3%. Watch the difference if you get a 3% raise every year. So it goes from 1.35 to 3.7. That means how much you're putting in. That 10% of the salary goes from 5,000. It starts to go up a little bit because you're putting more in, because the 10% you put in every year, 10% of your salary, starts to increase with your raise. That ends up taking you to 3.7 million. Now, this is based on the S&P 500. I can hear what you guys are saying right now. Mo, this is freaking gold. I would love to have 3.7 million when I retire. What you would if you started and did 35 years of investing in the S&P 500. But I say that's nonsense. That's horrible advice. It's horrible education. Why? Well, there's a better alternative based on past results. Now, past results do not guarantee future results, but think about where we're at right now. Think about what you're seeing in the market. What is the future of the market? I think we all understand what that future is. It is AI. It is tech. It is big time tech. It is all that beautiful chip, and it's power. It's power in the tech. It's the automated stuff. It's all of that, and the robots and all that crazy stuff, right? Think about where we're going to be in 30 years. How crazy is that future in your mind? It's big. And is it tech? Yes, it's tech driving it. So I do believe that tech will continue to lead the way. So watch this now. Watch this. This is the big one. And if you guys like this, hit the like button. I don't ask for a lot on here. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel, because this is gold. This is fire. This is gold. What do the young people say? This is going to get you fat stacks of blue cheese. This is going to be big for you over the long run. 3.7 million. This is why I never, ever, ever tell people to go into the S&P 500. If you have this situation, what did I just tell you? The average return with dividends is 4. Let's go back and take a look real quick. Just make sure we all have the right data here. The historical right here was 14%. I said, let's make it 15%. So let's go back, make this 15%. That's fair because that's what the average has been for almost 40 years. All right, now watch the difference. If you put it in QQQ, reinvest dividends, not 3.7 million, 12. Folks, I shake my head because anytime somebody says, no, just put it in the S&P 500, walk away, never worry about it again. I think to myself, in 35 years, the average person just lost $8.3 million. And I know some of you are probably throwing up right now. You're just disgusted because you're like, I've been doing that, Mo. Oh my God. And I said to you, and if you have a good advisor, if you have a solid advisor, if you have, and you should use a financial advisor. If you don't know what you're doing, get a financial advisor. I used to be one. I turned into education. 2 national championships, lots of 15 state championships have been recognized all over the country. I bring a wealth of knowledge, but I also bring caring. That's the one thing I don't see on YouTube. I actually care about people. That's why I'm doing this video. And so the 3.7 million is massive. Don't get me wrong. This is generational wealth in 35 years. This is generational wealth. You might say, Mo, are you doing this? I am doing this exact thing. I am putting $100 a week in, and I'm going to raise it every year into the Qs. And that puts, and that, remember, so that is going on as I speak. I want to test this theory myself with my other investments because you're looking at this and saying, Mo, that's fantastic. So this is a lower risk out of what I'm showing you today. I showed you the S&P 500. To me, it's the lowest of the risk. The variability is the lowest out of everything I'm going to show you today. So if you don't want risk, you don't want any of that, you can go with the S&P 500. But I'm going to be blunt. Look, think about the future. Think about what's advancing. Is it tech, the Qs, the Magnificent Seven, or is it more S&P 500? You know, a more rounded US. It's up to you, but I will stick with the numbers. I'm a numbers guy. I used to teach advanced mathematics. I go with the numbers, but wait till you see these numbers. So this is the addition. This is the part 2 of what some people wanted to see. But now we move into the big money. And this is the scary stuff. This is especially after this last week, a lot of people were writing me, Mo, are you selling? No, I'm buying on Monday. I'm buying more crypto on Monday. I like it. I like the charts. I like the fundamentals. I like it all. I know it's a little hot right now, and that's always going to have a little bit of a sell-off, but man, I like it. That moves us into what I'm going to show you right here. Now, the last 5 years, Bitcoin has returned 61.2%. The last 10, it's averaged 83. I do not believe it's going to average 83%, but could it average 60% again? And I said all 3 of these have averaged 60%. Ethereum, Bitcoin, and XRP over the last 5 years. But let me show you this, though. The 83.9%, that's a fact. That's a fact of what this has averaged annualized return. It's 83.9%. So let's go ahead and come up here and go to this chart. I want to show you what anybody who started over, just say 10 years ago, I don't care how old you were, and you started putting it in and getting the 63 point, what was it? 83.9%, right? 83.9%. What do you think that would be worth in 10 years? Just say you started at 50,000, you put in 10% of your check a year, and you increased it by your salary by 3%, not the how much you're putting in. So watch this. Watch this. How much did you put in? You only put in 57,000. Well, what's it worth? You only put in 57,000 over 10 years. 3 million. That's a fact. That's not made up. That's saying 10 years ago you started putting in 10% of your paycheck in Bitcoin. It's worth 3.4 million. This, remember when I said this isn't get rich quick scheme? It's not. But I am showing you absolutely what that could be worth now and 10 years ago. That was 2015. Tell me you didn't know about Bitcoin back then. I don't think there's a soul on earth that didn't hear about Bitcoin over the last 10 years. They just didn't do it. They didn't have a teacher to teach them about the possibilities. Now you do. That's why you're going to subscribe to the channel. All right. So now you got Bitcoin down here. That's at 83.9. So anybody's done this. This is the actual numbers. This is what you would have. And there are people out there who are crypto millionaires that I personally know. And it's insane. It would have took you 8 years to become a millionaire. 8 years. So if we just go roughly 38 years, just roughly a millionaire. 951, 8 years. 8 years. How much did you put in? 44,000. How much is it worth? 951,000, which is crazy. So now let's take it a little bit different. Let's do a little bit different. Let's do, because I showed you this before, but let me show you this. Over the last 5 years, 61%. Let's just say 61%, 5 years. So 35, 61%. You started with nothing. Calculate it. For those who just started, you put in 26K, you're up to 90. Now, if you keep doing this, could we get 60% on average return over the next 5 years? Remember, 10 years is averaging 81 or 83. So I think it's doable. I don't know if it'll happen, but I'll give you different scenarios. Let's just say it can, and we go 10 years, 61%. You put in 57,000 again, 1.24 million. All right? Now, somebody said to me, Mo, do you think it's going to outperform the Qs? Because some people already been taught by me, and I said, yes. If Bitcoin can do what I believe it can with the corporations taking over with that whole Bitcoin treasury strategy, government's getting involved, and everybody's starting to hold it, it's massive opportunity. And just say we could average 40%. 40%. Could we? And just say we could do it for 20 years. What's that become? So I'm going to, let me change that, make that 50 years old. We're going to do 40% for 20 years. Now I put in 134,000 over that 20 years, and it's worth 18 million. And that's not at 60%, that's down to 40%. And then somebody said, how about long term, man? I said, if we did the standard 35 years, I don't care how old you are, 35 years from now. And I said, let's take it down to 30% average over that 35 years. There's going to be years where it goes up 100, 200% possibly. And there are going to be years where it's flat or down. So I calculated it. You put in 302,000 over 35 years at only a 30% gain a year. 442 million. And no, that's not a misprint. It's not a misprint. And then you can say, hold on, we'll take it down lower, Mo. Just take it down to, say, 25%, just 10% higher than the Qs. All right? 134. What do we got here? 65, 25%. Let's go down to 20. Let's keep it going. 40 million. So could we get 20% over 35 years? Yeah. It's averaging 81 over 10, 61 or 83 over 10, 61. And this is the same over the last 5 years, 60% roughly for Ethereum, XRP, and Bitcoin. So if I take it down to 20% over 35 years, you're looking at $40 million. And I don't want to hear about, inflation. Yeah, but 40 million in 30 years, 35 years right now, it's still going to be a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of money. It's going to, you are going to be set. And it's up to you what you do. Now, this is high risk. Absolutely high risk. There's no guarantees, folks. Out there in the world, we don't know what's going to happen with AI, all that good stuff. But one thing seems to be working forward. And I know a lot of people don't believe it. We got some big things happening in terms of crypto legislation happening this week, next week. The Genius Act, all these and more. There's a ton happening. And it seems to be bipartisan agreement that this should happen. Grow crypto, which is massive. So that leads us into some positivity before I go. Let's do some shout outs here. We got Ryan Shepard there, Arkansas Dog. We got all kinds of people. iBeach, we got Hugh in the house, Crystal in the house, Fletch, let's go, Strano the Mono, Golden Retriever, Dad, Zen Zillions, sevens across the board, Arkansas Dog, and so much more. Stockness, Monster Nate, and me. I even had a nice little win there last week. We got the ETHU up about 5K. That was nice. I locked in a lot of that. Yeah, so if you guys aren't in here, you don't have to do this journey yourself. You can come and join us. First link down below. Like I said, before it expires, get that 50% off that first month. Is code July. Code July. July. You want to save 15% on annual pass? Click that. And where am I getting my crypto? Kraken. Get the free 25 bucks. Right there it is. 25 USDG for trading 100 or more, but you got to use my link. Kraken is the place I love to go. All right, family, that's the update for today. I will see you in the Discord.